Hello, my zebras and spoonies. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I am glad that you are here. So, today I want to talk about the idea of accepting our trauma experiences. In particular, I want to address some of the misunderstandings that I frequently see on the internet regarding this process. So, the first thing in all of this is that I want to talk about what trauma is itself. There is a great deal of misunderstanding about what trauma is or isn't. And there is this strange idea that it is unique to a handful of unfortunate people. Well, that's not true. The brutal truth is that every single one of us human beings have experienced some form of trauma in our lives. It is part of the human experience. It results from exposure to an incident or series of events that are emotionally disturbing or life threatening. Trauma experiences are as varied as the people on this earth. What is emotionally disturbing to one person isn't to another. One person feels exhilaration and excitement when they jump from an airplane, and another person would feel terrified and believe that their life was in threat. And neither experience is wrong. The thing to keep in mind is that trauma is an emotional response to an event that has occurred in a person's life. Because of this, it will behave just like every other human emotional response, which is to say, with a degree of unpredictability and a great deal of variability between individuals. There are many events that are likely to cause trauma, such as rape, war, being shot at, or getting in a car accident. But that doesn't mean that not having a trauma response to these events means that you're abnormal. Nor does it mean that having a trauma response to other events means that you are abnormal. There are times that seeming small events cause us great distress. That is the strange and unpredictable nature of being a human. Because of this, we can have a trauma response to a great variety of human experiences. And the only person that can determine if something was emotionally disturbing is the person that experienced that event. So that means that the assessment for trauma is really a self assessment. If you believe that you've experienced something traumatic, then you have. It's that simple. The last thing to say on that topic of defining trauma is that there is no means in which to measure trauma. It is either present or it's not. There is no such thing as a big trauma or a small trauma. This means that there's no means in which one person could feel trauma more than another person. Because trauma isn't a thing to be measured, so someone cannot have more or less of it than someone else. The conversations that attempt to measure and compare trauma experiences are thus not only meaningless, but they're damaging. When we try to determine who has had the worst experiences, we are really asking who has the most valid emotional response to the events that they have experienced. And the truth is that every emotional response to any emotional experience that they have had is valid. Instead, let's give space to everyone's emotional experience, even if it's different than our own. Okay, so now that we've talked about what trauma is, let's talk about this idea of accepting trauma. The first thing that I want to say on this topic is that acceptance does not require forgiveness for someone or something that has caused a person the harm. In fact, acceptance has nothing to do with the person or the thing that caused the trauma. We feel anger as a normal and healthy response to having been caused harm. Why then would we expect that erasing that healthy emotional response would be required for a person to heal from their traumatic experience? The emotions that we often label as negative are there to protect us. Fear, anger, and hate all help us create distance from the things that would cause us emotional, physical, and spiritual harm. There is nothing healthy about trying to negate these emotions. Acceptance is the action and process of being received as adequate or suitable. It is an action, which means that it is something that we must choose to engage in and that it will require an effort. It is also a process, which means that it is something that will happen over a period of time in a gradual way. It is about receiving, which is bringing something into ourselves. And this last part is the most important. It is about realizing that the traumatized self remains adequate and suitable despite having had the experience that caused them emotional disturbance. So, acceptance is actively engaging in the process of seeing our traumatized self as still being adequate and suitable human beings. By giving our emotional response space and allowing ourselves to process the experience that we have lived through, we allow ourselves the opportunity to see that emotional experience as valid and to see the person who survived that experience as someone who is worthy of our love. Accepting our trauma is about accepting the person that we become when we have had a traumatic experience. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. So thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like the video, please click the like button. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye.